Hello and welcome to the Bike Ride Studio. I'm Scott and today I'm reviewing the Fold 1 by Velotric. If you have joined me here before and you still haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you could do that now. It really helps us to build our audience and bring you even more great content. And hey, if you're a first-time viewer and you find this review useful, it would be great if you could give us a like, subscribe, and even hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming reviews. Check out the Bike Ride YouTube channel for more bike reviews, or head to bikeride.com for our written reviews to learn about cycling events near you and join the bike discussions in our forums. In this review, I'm going to go over the key points of the Fold 1 and cover the full specifications, as well as show you the results of my testing. I'll give you my thoughts on what this bike does well, where it falls short, and whether it might work for you. And at the end, I'll wrap things up with my conclusion. And as always, we'll also have a full written review on bikeride.com, where you can also check out our final score for this bike. Well, this is the 5th Velotric bike that we've reviewed in recent weeks, so I'm not going to go into too much depth here about the company, other than to say that they're based in California, they've been around for a few years now, and they've built an impressive range of e-bikes covering almost all niches. I'll include links in the video description to some recent Velotric bike reviews from us, as well as where you can learn more about the company and some of its other models. So what is the Velotric Fold 1? Well, this is a step-through folding e-bike, similar to bikes from competing brands. It folds in the usual way, with one hinge in the middle of the frame to fold the bike in two, and a hinge above the head tube, which allows you to fold the stem and the bars down. The pedals also fold in to reduce the folded footprint, and Velotric provides a basic Velcro strap to secure the bike when it's folded. The Fold 1 is supposed to fit in any car, SUV, RV, or apartment. And at 65.8 pounds, it's light enough that most people should be able to lift it into a trunk. But carrying it is a different story. Velotric says the folded bike is 33 inches high, 38 inches long, and 19 inches wide. Now I found that the bike was closer to 40 inches long when folded, but otherwise the folded dimensions are as stated by Velotric. The Fold 1 is one size only, but both handlebar and seat height can be adjusted to achieve a better fit. The Fold 1 is available in 3 colorways: stone gray, electric blue, and the bright pearl white of our test bike. The 750 watt rear hub motor peaks at 1050 watts, and it has 70 Newton meters of torque. The 7-speed drivetrain is typical budget Shimano, which, though not glamorous, was smooth throughout our testing, as you would expect. On this bike, we have an Altus trigger shifter and a tourney derailleur at the rear. Like most budget folding e-bikes, the Fold 1 uses a cadence sensor. The Fold 1 also comes with relatively few high-tech features, being more like Velotric's Discover 1 Plus than the Discover 2. It has a small and simple display, and there's no app available for the bike. I confirmed that the Fold 1 will fit inside of an SUV easily, but I don't have a car with a trunk to test, so if you're measuring your car to see if this bike will fit, take note that the test bike was roughly 2 inches longer when folded than Velotric states. The battery sits behind the Fold 1 seat tube, and you only need the key to remove the battery, not to install the battery or to power the bike up and ride it. Headline points worth noting are the bike's 440 pounds of weight capacity, good acceleration and hill climbing performance, and great brakes. It also has a sturdy integrated cargo rack, which is rated for 120 pounds. Velotric offers a good range of bags, baskets, and other accessories to install on this bike's many mounting points. The Fold 1 is powerful and peppy, with good acceleration, thanks in part to the responsive pedal assist. There's plenty of power for hills, and the bike easily maintains 20 miles per hour. While this bike can reach 28 miles per hour, traveling at those higher speeds really does hurt the battery range. Velotric made it super easy to adjust the Fold 1 between Class 1, 2, and 3, with clear instructions on how to do it. The throttle is easy to remove for meeting both Class 1 or Class 3 regulations. And Velotric also includes stickers for places that require the power rating and speed to be displayed clearly on the bike. By unlocking the Class 3 top speed of 28 miles per hour for pedal assist, the throttle is also able to reach 28 miles per hour. However, exceeding 20 miles per hour with the throttle is illegal, and that's why Velotric made the throttle easy to remove. The Fold 1 has some great brakes. A lot of budget folding bikes make do with mechanical brakes, but the Fold 1 has a set of 2-piston Tektro hydraulic brakes. Now, in my testing, these brakes were quiet, and they stopped the Fold 1 from 20 miles per hour in an impressive 15 feet. This is several feet shorter than comparable bikes that I've tested, and a great result overall for these brakes. It's important to be able to accurately estimate an e-bike's remaining range. Unfortunately, the Fold 1's display only has a 5-bar battery meter, with no option to show remaining charge as a percentage. Even with an accurate 5-bar meter, it's hard to estimate range, but on the Fold 1, it isn't always accurate. This was particularly apparent on one of my test rides while using Pedal Assist 5. The first bar disappeared after 1.5 miles. It then stayed at 4 bars for another 12 miles, before it fell to 3 bars at 13.5 miles, and then only 2 miles later, it dropped down to 2 bars. At this point, I happened to stop and turn the bike off. When I powered it up again, the battery was miraculously back up at 4 bars. So I continued on my way, only for the readout to drop to 3 bars after another 3 miles. And then even more worryingly, after just a few more miles, the meter suddenly fell to 1 bar, skipping the 2 bars completely. By now, I was nervously wondering if I would even make it home. The battery meter then started flashing, and it continued like that for another 8 miles, before it showed completely empty. It then continued for a mile like that, before the bike died completely. Now, turning the bike off and on again brought it to life for another minute or 2, and I was able to repeat that process 2 or 3 times, and then the battery was completely empty. Altogether, it lasted 25.58 miles. Now, when I was testing the bike on Pedal Assist 3, things were a little more reliable, with the battery level falling in a much more consistent manner through all 5 of the levels. I assumed the battery voltage is just too unstable when you're pushing the bike really hard in Pedal Assist 5, which results in the battery indicator having a tough time outputting that reading properly. I don't know why so many brands get their rider fit range so wrong. I mean, obviously, every human is different. So if they said this fits riders up to 6'1", and it's a little small for me at 6 feet, that would be understandable. But Velotric says this bike is good for people from 4 feet 9 inches to 6 feet 5. And I mean, it's clearly not. To get full leg extension, I set the saddle as high as it could safely go. Unless you're rather unusual at 6'5" with a 32-inch inseam, this bike is just going to be too small. Unfortunately, the Fold 1 also only comes in one size. So taller riders are really just out of luck here, unless you want to only use the throttle. The third con was the gearing. The Fold 1 has a relatively big 52-tooth chainring, but the wheels are only 20 inches. And the tallest gear at the back is a 14-tooth. This makes for low gearing at higher speeds. This gearing works fine up to 20 miles per hour, but ghost pedaling occurs after that. So reaching the max speed of 28 miles per hour by pedaling isn't possible at a comfortable cadence. Well, being able to fold it down does make it much easier to transport and store, and the folding option works well here. The low step over height also makes it easy to get on and off the bike. Velotric made it convenient to set up the bike for class 1, 2, or 3, which is great for locales that enforce e-bike rules. The speed limit can also be adjusted between 12 and 28 miles per hour in 1 mile per hour increments. The motor is peppy and responsive, providing good acceleration and hill climbing ability. With moderate pedal assist use, the Fold 1 does have good range, especially given the battery size. The brakes are great, and with a great stopping distance and very little noise during use. The Fold 1 can also carry an impressive 440 pounds, and the cargo rack is rated for 120 pounds, as well as there's plenty of mounting points for accessories, many of which you can get right from Velotric. The Fold 1's rear light is also bright, and it has brake activation. Well, if you're over 6 feet tall, or your inseam is greater than 32 inches, the Fold 1 is likely too small for you, unless you're willing to forego an efficient, comfortable pedaling stance. If you're looking to travel long distances at high speeds, this bike also probably isn't right for you. Plus, estimating the battery range is a bit of a challenge, and the inadequate gearing range results in ghost pedaling at speeds above 20 miles per hour. The step-through frame is made from aluminum, and it's available in 3 different colorways. However, it only comes in a single size, which Velotric says will fit riders from 4 feet 9 to 6 feet 5. As I already explained, this height range just isn't accurate, and this bike doesn't suit riders that are really taller than 6 feet in general. The height of the handlebars can be changed using that adjustable stem, which has 80 millimeters of range. But there's no way to alter the reach of the bike. The Fold 1's dimensions match those given by Velotric, which is consistent throughout the lineup, except for the folded length, which Velotric puts at 38 inches, and I measured at almost 40. The Fold 1 has a budget 60mm coil suspension fork. It felt better than most other cheap suspension forks with no clunking or harsh bottoming out, but it is a short travel fork. The bottom bracket in this bike is also a press fit, so most owners are going to need a professional mechanic if your bottom bracket ever needs servicing. Velotric says this bike can carry 440 pounds of rider and cargo, with up to 120 pounds on that rear rack. There are lots of places to mount accessories, and Velotric offers many accessories such as bags, baskets, and seat pads. The bike folds in 3 places: at the top of the head tube, in the middle of the frame, and at the pedals. The frame and head tube hinges are both secured by spring-loaded clasps, with a thumb-operated locking lever that prevents users from unintentionally opening the clasp when you don't mean to. The hinges worked smoothly throughout testing, and they were secure when closed. Despite these folding points, the bike felt solid while riding, with no noticeable shimmy. The seat tube is 16.14 inches, with a reach measurement of 17.51 inches, stack measurement of 20.9 inches, standover height of 15.74, a virtual top tube length of 24.96 inches, a minimum saddle height of 31.49 inches, and a max saddle height of 38.97 inches. And we have a wheelbase of 45 inches on this bike, with a total length of 65 inches. We have a folded length of 40 inches, a folded height of 33 inches, and a folded width of 19 inches. The Fold 1 has a basic 1.8-inch black and white display, which is mounted in landscape orientation. There's a 3-button control pad, as well as a USB port so that you can charge a phone on the go. The USB port is the older Type A style, and not the current Type C. We found this and a few other Velotric bikes lack a key-operated lock, or another way to secure the bike and prevent the display from being powered on. The display only has a simple 5-bar battery display, one of my personal pet peeves of not having a percentage. With no percentage readout, it's very hard to estimate remaining range. I really do prefer having that percentage. The 3-button keypad has a power button, a plus button, and a minus button. A long press on the power button turns the bike on or off, and a single press switches the riding data section of the display. A single press on the plus button raises the assist level, and a long press turns the lights on or off. A single press on the minus button lowers the assist level, and a long press engages the walk mode, which is maintained by holding that button down. Letting go of that button turns off the walk mode. The Fold 1's display doesn't have a proper advanced settings menu, but it does let you customize some of the display settings. To access these custom settings, with the bike powered up, press and hold the plus and minus buttons together. In the custom settings menu, use the plus and minus buttons to navigate to customize mileage units, auto shut-off time, and the brightness of the backlight. Press the power button to enter the setting, and use the plus and minus buttons to make a change, then long press the power button to save that change and exit out of the menu. The Fold 1's speed limit can be adjusted, using the same process as on the Discover 1 Plus. With the bike powered off, press the power and minus buttons together, and then hold them for 20 seconds until the screen turns on, showing the speed setting. Next, use the plus and minus buttons to adjust the speed limit to say any speed between 12 miles per hour and 28 miles per hour. Then press and hold the power button to shut the bike off and save the new setting. When you power the bike on again, the new speed limit will be enabled. The Fold 1 has a 750 watt Velotric branded motor in the rear hub. It produces 70 Newton meters of torque and a peak power of 1050 watts. The cadence sensor is well tuned, and when riding the bike felt powerful and peppy, whether using pedal assist or the throttle. I found the Fold 1 to have even better motor response and quicker acceleration than Velotric's already impressive Discover 1 Plus, which also uses a cadence sensor. The Fold 1's thumb-style throttle also works nicely, and it's good for maintaining higher speeds, though this obviously uses more battery than using pedal assist. The throttle provides power in line with the selected pedal assist level, and during my testing, the Fold 1 generally performed on par with its folding competitors, achieving results that were normally in the middle of the pack. However, even though the Fold 1 feels powerful, it was a little bit slower in the hill tests than comparable bikes. Motor noise is also typical for a rear hub motor, and it gets louder when it's working hard. Our medium hill climb was completed in 2 minutes and 43 seconds, at an average speed of 14.4 miles per hour. And our small hill climb was completed in 3 minutes and 8 seconds, at an average speed of 18.9 miles per hour. And we got a 0 to 20 time of 9 seconds using the pedal assist and 11 seconds using the throttle. The Fold 1 has a 48 volt, 12.6 amp hour battery. At 608 watt hours, it's quite a bit less than I would like to see with a 750 watt motor. But in range tests, the Fold 1 generally performed on par with the competition. As with all Velotric e-bikes now, the battery and the electrical system are both UL listed. And the 2 amp charger is a bit on the small side, so fully charging the 13 amp hour battery is going to take you about 6 to 7 hours. Many compact folding e-bikes like this one carry their batteries externally, but hanging off the seat post. That may be less appealing visually, but it does make it easier to access and remove. There's a key operated lock on one side of the battery, and the charge port is on the other side, with a rubber weather cap. That port is used to charge the battery both when it's installed on the bike and when you've got it off the bike. To remove the battery, raise the seat to provide enough clearance. Then insert the key and turn it to unlock the battery. Next, pull the battery up to lift it up and off the plastic battery rails. The battery comes back to clear the seat. Installing the battery is even easier, as you don't need to use the key. Introduce the battery at a slight angle to clear the back of the seat, and then line up the slots on the battery with the plastic rails on the bike. When it mates properly, the battery then slides down 1 to 2 inches and it locks into place. As with so many entry-level e-bikes, the Fold 1 rocks Shimano 7-speed gearing, in this case with a 52-tooth chainring that carries a single-sided aluminum chain guard, and a 14 to 28-tooth cassette at the rear. This combination of Altus trigger shifter and tourney derailleur is well known and it works fine. Less happy, however, is the gearing. Up to 20 miles per hour, this gearing is fine, but try to go any faster and you're going to run into ghost pedaling, the bane of so many budget e-bikes. The throttle will propel you to speeds that are exceeding 20 miles per hour, but this isn't technically legal, and it does quickly drain the battery. The Fold 1 has hydraulic disc brakes from Tektro, with 2 piston calipers and 180mm brake rotors. The brake levers have set screws that allow you to adjust the lever reach. I enjoyed the good braking response, as well as the low noise on these brakes. In testing, the Fold 1 demonstrated excellent braking performance, taking just 15 feet to stop from 20 miles per hour. This is substantially shorter than the competing bikes that I've tested. The Fold 1 has 20-inch aluminum alloy wheels, and it rolls on 3-inch wide Chaoyang Airysun tires. I found the combination of width, light off-road tread pattern, and Chaoyang's K rubber compound provided a nice mix of traction and ride comfort for urban rides and light trails. The Fold 1 comes with integrated lights, a 60 lux headlight up front, and a rear light with braking activation. Velotric also includes full coverage fenders, as well as a single-sided kickstand, which worked without complaint during my testing. At the back, you'll find a nicely integrated rear rack that's rated to carry 120 pounds. Velotric also offers optional, on-brand aftermarket baskets, bags, and other accessories for the rack. At the front of the bike, there are dedicated mounting points on the head tube for Velotric's front rack, and there are 2 sets of mounting bosses on the down tube for bottle cages and other accessories. The Fold 1 comes with lock-on rubber grips. They're ergonomic, like the other grips on Velotric bikes, but they're also a little bit skinnier than most of them. They feel more round, and they're easy to get your hands around. I like them, but of course grips are very personal. Saddles are also very personal. The Fold 1 saddle is the same urban comfort item which is found on many of Velotric's other bikes. There's plenty of cushion, and it's wide enough to provide good support, but it didn't get in the way of my pedaling, and it was really comfortable for longer rides, like out on the range tests. The Fold 1 comes with folding pedals that help reduce the bike's folded footprint. These plastic pedals do feel a bit cheap, and they are slippery when wet. Overall, I think that the Fold 1 is a pretty impressive bike for this price point. It's a shame that the gearing isn't more suitable, as that would make it both easier to pedal at higher speeds and improve battery range by not having to rely on that throttle. Also, the combination of poor range at high speeds as well as an unreliable battery display lets the bike down somewhat. Having said that, the Fold 1 is peppy, with enough power for climbing hills and cruising at 20 miles per hour. And when it comes time to stop, the brakes really do impress. Add in the easy ability to set the Fold 1 up for Class 1, 2, or 3, as well as its 440-pound weight capacity, and I have to say that the Fold 1 is a lot of folding e-bike for the money. If you can live with the challenges posed by the battery meter and the gearing, and you're no taller than about 6 feet 2, the Velotric Fold 1 is a solid option. Follow the link in the description to the written review of the Fold 1, where you'll also see our final score for this bike. Do you have a Fold 1 yourself? How are you enjoying it? And how does your experience with the bike line up with our conclusions? Let us know in the comments under this video, or join the forums at bikeride.com, where you'll also find a ton of other bike reviews. And as always, if you found this review useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, why not do that now? And hit the bell icon so you always know when we're going to publish a new review. My name's Scott, and I look forward to having you join me on the next bike ride review.